telling you because we care.
We care.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another Girlapeutic video. It's your home of therapeutic
Girl talk.
And listen, actually, you know what? Before we get started, can we tell the people to subscribe? Subscribe,
Yeah.
comment, like, do your thing.
Subscribe. Share.
We'll wait while you do it.
Go ahead.
We got time.
We got a lot of time. And go. You might as well go ahead and like the video.
Oh,
Before we even start.
before I even start, call your friend.
Call your friend.
All right, now listen. Now, for the video, we are talking. Actually, we're answering questions today.
Yeah,
We are
answering
answering
questions.
y'all questions.
Yeah, we got a few questions. We asked for any questions that you had for us to answer, any topics that you wanted us to discuss, and we got a few. So we are going to answer them, give our thoughts. These are our opinions.
Yes.
Okay, our opinions.
Our.
And yeah, that's it.
Let's get into it.
All right. So for the first question, it is: are expectations necessary when getting to know someone?
That's a good question. Okay, getting to know, if something's gonna shake, if something's gonna rock.
I'm
Is that-
assuming in like a dating sense or something
In a
like
dating
that.
sense.
Yeah.
But what type of
Expectations.
expectations?
Well, we don't.
I
We can't ask
Because I mean, I feel like it's a little subjective here.
them. Well, based off of the information you got, which is just a question, what would you give?
No, because I don't know you to expect anything. from
State
you.
the question one more time.
Are expectations necessary when getting to know someone?
I think it depends on how far into the process you are. Like on day one, it's not like I expect you to do this, this, you know, or even mentally have that expectation. I think it just depends on where you're at in the relationship.
I think the person too, because
Yeah.
like let's say I think for women, and it may be look differently for men because they have different things that they probably look for in a woman. But like some women may say, oh well, he didn't open the door for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Then I don't know about that. You know what I mean? I need to
Yeah.
know more, or like little stuff like that. Like that could be an expectation. Whereas some women like it's not really a deal breaker if they don't open the door, or you know what I mean. But I think further down the line, once you start getting to know someone and you start to establish certain boundaries, certain milestones in the relationship that you do want to take it further, yeah, there's going to be expectations there.
Yeah, my question is: are these expectations, or are they like standards?
Standards, yeah.
Because I think that's the difference. If you have just certain standards, then yeah, you definitely should enact to those or implement those, or I guess expect those to be met to a degree. If you're trying to get to know someone, but expectations, I guess it just depends on what it is.
What those are. Because if you expect somebody to open the door, you may not necessarily have to say that, but if we get to the door and I'm kind of
Like,
then it's like,
that ain't
okay,
you.
this is so I mean, I don't know.
Well, and you should give that other person should have the right to determine if they are willing to meet those expectations.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
So
why,
yeah, I guess a discussion too. If they're not standards, but they're just expectations, then like, what is that? And communicate with that person, because you may have somebody that's like, I'm okay, like no
and then
thanks.
you've wasted a lot of time. Yeah.
The next question is, could you please discuss living a Christ-centered life while pursuing your personal educational goals and juggling other life responsibilities?
That's a really good question. I like that.
So here's the thing. I think because we're constantly growing in Christ while still trying to be like our individual self, I think it's important to obviously stay in your word, but really like constantly seek Christ so you can make sure that you're still on the right track. Because I think a part of living a Christ-centered life is obviously fulfilling out the plan that he has for you. And in order to do that, if y'all in sync, if you're aligned, you'll always still be on that right track. And the stuff is going to align with who you are individually. So it's almost like as long as the relationship is right,
That's what you mean.
everything else will kind of like fall into place.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably like the first step. But as far as balancing it, I know too, like for me, like a lot of my desires that I thought I wanted before having a relationship with God, they're out the door. I don't even desire those things anymore. And it wasn't until I started walking closely with God that they completely changed. And then I look back and I'm like, oh, well, maybe I actually really didn't like that, or it really didn't. You know, I just thought I wanted that. I think that's kind of like the key though to keeping it in balance, is just making sure that you're consistently, you know, nurturing that relationship with him so he can give you what you need.
I agree with that, because I feel like that's kind of where I'm at now, as far as trying to make sure, of course I want to get my education, but then make sure like, okay, God, is this what you really want me to do? But I think it's important that as you pursue different goals, you don't leave him behind.
Yep.
So it's not that I'm doing this by myself. It's like me and God, we're doing this together. And I know for me personally, I'll say, I think here recently, going back to school has strengthened my relationship with God, because I realized, like, I need you to help me retain this information. I need you to help me understand it. So I think it's important to just continue to include him, because I don't think we serve a God who doesn't want you to pursue different avenues, because how else is he going to use you in this world if you're just staying in one position? Because we need people who are believers in different areas within the world. So I think it's important, just don't do it without him. Keep him included in the mix as far as what I should pursue in school and things like that, because it's all a part of his plan.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like a misconception that you can have, is a lot of people say, well, I don't know my purpose, when really at the end of the day, as a believer, your purpose is to serve the Lord and, you know, fulfill what he has for you. How we get there is completely on us. You know what I mean? Because we are individuals. He gives us gifts, talents, abilities, qualities, skills to go and do what we need to do, as long as it's aligning with his will. So your purpose is simple. It is to carry out and be a believer and, you know, spread the gospel. But how we do that is, we're individuals. We can decide that, because it's in his plan. As long as we're keeping in contact with him and he's helping us through this stuff, because he didn't give us these gifts and talents for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, it's supposed to be enjoyable. So I think that's a common misconception, is because, oh, well, I'm not doing it like this, I don't know my purpose. No, you know your purpose. Yeah, you know your purpose. It's just you're trying to figure out what that's gonna look like. Carrying it out. So,
and I think the more responsibilities that you have, sometimes you can easily put on the back burner your spiritual relationship, or just that connection as a whole. Like, it may be there, but maybe not to the same extent. Like, maybe I'm not giving God as much attention as I should, or I'm not communicating, or, you know, maybe it's just like, good morning, Jesus, and then like, good night, Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just the simple things. And I think I completely agree. I think y'all said a mouthful. Just keeping that relationship, being intentional about it, and realizing that in each phase of life, no matter what it is, whether it's, what'd you say, educational, personal, and juggling life responsibilities, you still need that, like, divine connection to really fulfill that to the fullest potential.
As you start to grow too, like, the Holy Spirit guides you. So now as I've strengthened in that, like, certain stuff that I would think that I want to do, I'm stopped, and it's almost like, you know, it's like this even unconscious type of stop. Like, I didn't even know I was stopping myself because it's not for me. And I think that starts to grow more, that you start to strengthen your relationship, but it's like, it's kind of really cool when you get into it, because it's like, dang, like,
you just have that connection with him.
And you stop yourself from getting into something that really is not meant for you. So
but just for the question, I would just say, if you do feel like you're just juggling a lot, just really try to set that time aside and build that relationship, even build it back to maybe where it once was, or whatever. And I'm talking about the relationship with God, because I've been there personally, where you feel like, okay, I got this, I got school, I'm married, I got, work, I need my own time where I can just relax. You know what I'm saying? But not allowing that relationship with God to feel like a chore.
Yes.
And I've been there to where it can feel like just something to check off the to-do list. But really making it back into a relationship and just making it a part of your day.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's in the car, honey, in the shower,
Right.
your thoughts, all of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Plan it
It's
out.
just, like, it's not anything that needs to be scheduled. Okay, this at
Actually,
11 o'clock.
I have to schedule it.
You do?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like now during the day, because y'all know I get up early. I get up at 4:30, but only because I want to spend that time with God before I get my day started. But then it's like, because I had to start thinking, okay, we have all this time in the day, and I felt like I wasn't spending enough time with Him. And for me, it's easier if I break it down. So if I spend 30 minutes here reading, praying, and then later on in the day, I got my other 30, just stuff like that. It helps if you're trying to get back into the groove of, okay, I have all this, but I don't want to neglect you. If I write something down, I'm going to do it. If I don't, it's kind of just like, So it just depends, It depends
How
on
you are,
how you are. For me, that works
for you.
And I did recently hear somebody say, if you feel like you don't have enough time in the day, borrow it from your sleep. Okay. The next question is, and I'm going to combine it, how do you set goals, and is it important to have dreams?
That's a good one.
really good.
I think that it is, and now I've heard people say that you shouldn't, that kind of setting goals is kind of silly or a waste of time sometimes, because like when you are a believer, it's like, I want God's will. And obviously, yes, but I think that you should have some sort of plan for yourself and be open for that plan to change. But have that plan, have those goals, and give those goals to God. Like, this is what my heart desires. Let me know if this is what you desire from me, because it's written in pencil, it's not in pen. So I can erase whatever you need me to erase and put in whatever you need me to put in. But for goals, I do believe it's important to set goals.
Absolutely. Because it just goes back to purpose. He can use you anywhere. So if your goal is to be a doctor, you know what I mean? Okay. Make that your goal. Now, let's say he takes you somewhere else, you know what I mean? In the medical field. I mean, it may not look exactly how you want, but setting that goal for yourself is, yes, absolutely. You know what I mean?
And not aimless, like you
You're working towards something, so I definitely think it's important. And then to have dreams,
I think it's important because God can give you those
I was
things.
just about to say.
Yeah, He can give you those things. And then I think, because I set goals, so you can have your big goal and then set your smaller goals in between there. But I definitely think it's important, because if we don't have something we're striving for, we are going to be purposeless, just going through life. And I don't think that that's what God desires for us, because even in the Bible, Nehemiah had to build the wall. He had a goal to build that wall, and it was God's will. So, and that goes back to just having that relationship with Him. He can give you half the goals I have now. I did not have, really, I didn't. But when you spend that relationship, that time with God and things like that, He'll help you. So definitely give yourself goals, because that's going to help you to be more productive in life in general. So I think it's important.
Same. Yeah, I went through that process too, not really knowing, and then all of a sudden I'm like, okay.
It's like, you think I can do that thing?
You sure?
Okay.
I can do that.
I'm going to be obedient.
Set those dreams, okay?
Yeah, because I think sometimes we just be doing too much in the church. Like, it's not, I don't know how to describe how I feel, but I just think sometimes we do too much.
Absolutely.
God gives us the desires of our hearts. So make your goals, have your dreams. And like you said, if something shifts, and it may not be, if you had plans to be a pediatrician, but God doesn't, He wants you to be a surgeon. I don't know. But you still have those goals, and just make them goals.
Do that.
Okay. Have you a good time with God.
The next question is, it says, I want to hear opinions on taking a cheating man back. Maybe he didn't go all the way, but he did receive something else.
Well,
I'm gonna just tell you right now, I have zero tolerance for cheating, so
it wasn't directly like the full act, but there was some preliminary. Is that safe
Okay,
to say?
cheating.
It was, yeah.
I'm gonna say bye.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just,
This is our opinion.
Are they
Again, it's
married?
just our opinion.
And
I don't know.
that's
the
if they
thing.
married.
If we're dating and you do that,
it ain't in the cards for me.
it's not. Because it's one thing if we're married because we need to work through this.
Right.
Was it one time?
Okay, right.
Let's talk
Did you
about
have a moment? What was going on?
Was your
baby?
week?
Well, you know what? I think just when it comes to marriage, it can be harder. I think you're saying, or as far as like why you would take time to work through it, is because
you have
a union.
Yeah, this is a union. Like this is a covenant. Like we may have more to lose. But if you're doing this to me and we're dating,
you my boyfriend. You ain't. We're not engaged.
We don't have
You're my boyfriend. Even if we're engaged, absolutely not. Period. If we're not married, it's a no for me.
It's a absolute.
Child, watch one of our previous videos. We said you will be okay eventually.
Go ahead, move on, baby girl.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Because
baby boy too.
I feel like if
Baby boy too. That's right. Whoever.
Because at the end of the day, if I'm giving you quality, I'm not cheating on you. I don't expect. No, don't do that to me.
And let's talk about not just cheating in a sexual way, but I don't want you emotionally cheating on me.
Yeah, I don't want you sliding in people's DMs.
I don't need you flirting.
I don't need you flirting.
Doing none of that.
I don't need you going to hang out.
Well, and let me just, I'm gonna go back to the sexual portion, because even though it wasn't sex, it was still oral.
Baby girl, that's sex.
Yeah.
That's sex. No, ma'am. Go ahead and
let that
tell them good day.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're not married. No, because that's what your life is going to be. Like, I'm not about to. You doing this now, baby? Bye.
And you're probably gonna need time to heal from that. Honestly.
Yeah.
Even if you don't realize it now, that happening to you, just at the end of the day, you're gonna have to heal.
Yeah. And who's to say, like, let's say you stayed and he never did it again. Okay, great. But I feel like if that's the case, you guys can still separate. And if it's Lord willing,
it'll come back.
He'll come back and he'll be
come back better.
Okay, be healthy. He
healthy. Headspace is
decided.
He won't desire to go ahead and do that with
Lindsay, Lisa.
Okay,
whoever it is.
Because I won't. Child, let me not.
It's
not.
not.
It's gonna be a no for me.
Yeah.
Flat no.
It's gonna be a no.
Hard no.
And you know what? We've talked about this in a previous video too. Having those hard stops. You gotta know what your limitations, your boundaries are. Like, hey, this is a no-go for me. Now, you may be different. That may not be a no-go for you, but what we're saying is, for us, it's a hard stop.
It's a hard stop.
It's a hard stop.
Because you deserve high school. You deserve more.
You do.
You really it's giving you not sure.
It's giving.
And if you're not sure about me, somebody else will be.
Right.
Because
this is how I felt, because sex is such a intentional thing. Now, I do think that your mind gets, your mind definitely can get a little hazy and a little, blurry, and you could get too far in the moment. But, you know that person ain't me.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Period.
Yeah.
So, what else is there to say?
What else is there to say?
And guarantee
you knew that from the beginning.
You knew that wasn't me.
And
it wasn't me.
You chose.
And you laid down.
And I know you thought
bed.
about me. I know you did. Because you got me.
Bed, couch, wherever you was.
You didn't take
Ebonics and all, wherever
how,
you was.
How that was gonna make me feel.
Not at all. So
No.
go ahead and do what you. Because let me tell you something. If you do the same thing,
Oh yeah,
he would have been
over.
like, whoever she.
it would.
Because I feel like that's kind of the thing. Men, I love my brothers.
Love you to
alright?
death.
Love you.
But y'all be tripping sometimes.
But it's like they sometimes feel like, okay, well, I can do this, but let one of us cut up out here. How could you do this to me? Like,
Girl, all of a sudden your body is a temple.
All of a sudden-
Well, what about yours?
what about we? Like,
all of a sudden, you this, and this.
Yeah.
I know y'all be thinking with your head sometimes. But let me tell you something. I'm gonna need you to think with me. And baby girl, you deserve that.
absolutely. And somebody's willing to give that to you. It's some good men out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't
It
endorse
may be
the whole
slim, but
struggle love type
No.
of thing.
I'm
Which
telling
is what a lot of times I feel like is glamorized now. And couples do, yes, that is people's testimonies. Like, this happened, we pushed through it. And glory to God, amen, there are people who do it. Like they said, you could leave that relationship, come back, and that person could be brand new, truly understanding what they did, how they compromised the relationship, and all the other things. But I think now it's just so encouraged to, like,
struggle
stay
through that.
or, you know, oh, he gonna cheat anyway, so let's open this relationship.
Yeah.
Let's, you know what I'm saying?
No.
Just making different compromises
yeah.
just to keep somebody. You don't have to do that.
Choose peace.
Yeah.
Child, period.
Cause just like y'all said, if it's supposed to happen,
It'll
y'all
come
separate.
back.
Gotta bring it together, and it'll be a changed man or woman, whatever
Honey.
your situation is. But yeah, I do not. Don't
Let it
struggle
go.
through that.
Let it come back if it needs.
That messes with you mentally.
That's what I'm saying. You're gonna have time to heal.
You need to start
Yeah.
getting insecure, thinking that you ain't enough, baby girl.
And you are enough.
And you are enough.
When those things happen, it can affect your relationship with other women.
Yes.
Cause then it's like, well, he probably would be interested in her. I don't really want to. And it's like, don't do that. Do not do that. Do not let anybody make you feel less than.
You're saying like your insecurities.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
insecurities. You don't want to build stuff with certain people because of how things have happened in the past. Don't do that. Don't do it. You are more than enough, honey.
It ain't worth.
It ain't worth it.
It ain't worth seeing you cry.
Hello.
That's why I'm right here,
Sing a
baby.
little louder. Go ahead.
Is that your hand?
Is that your? I don't think so. Is it?
That is.
No, that's Tank, honey.
Oh, that's
Oh.
She found the numbers I had in my pocket.
We're gonna link that in the description below. You go listen to that song.
It ain't worth.
Okay, Tank was trying to tell y'all, man, it ain't worth
It
it.
ain't worth it.
Child, he know because he did it. All right.
Okay, period.
Next question. How do you plan? We're gonna go back spiritual. Oh,
Because we done all got upset
Bring the Lord
by
back.
that, right?
It got hot.
Let's
We venting like, girl, you don't need him. Don't do that. You better.
better than that.
Cheating is cheating. Period. Don't do that.
He ain't gonna change. Jesus said next question. Come on, move on.
Go ahead, move on.
Go ahead, move
Yeah,
on.
we telling you because we care.
We care.
We care.
We want what's best for you.
Period.
That's funny.
Purr.
Purr.
Okay.
Purr.
How do you plan and prepare for what God has for you? Especially if you don't know what God has for you.
I love the space that we have here because you can just be real.
Christianity can seem a little off-putting or weird or really mystical.
Yeah.
She says, my boyfriend and I have had some problems surrounding porn use lately, and I'm so curious about your thoughts.
We're gonna be real and raw here, okay?